knew her name, and even fewer would recognize her on sight. Lydia felt a shiver travel through her shoulders that had nothing to do with the winter air. "How do you know that?" she asked. The man stepped forward once more, and the snow beneath his boots barely made a sound. The movement was slow and deliberate, not threatening, yet Lydia could not ignore the powerful presence that seemed to surround him. He looked like someone who had never needed to raise his voice to be heard. His silver eyes studied her with a quiet intensity that made it difficult to look away. "Because your village has been speaking about you all evening," he replied calmly. Lydia's chest tightened. "Then you already know why I left." "Yes," he said. "They believe you are an Omega without a scent." Lydia looked down at the snow between them. Hearing the words spoken aloud by a stranger stung more than she expected. "They are not wrong," she said softly. The man did not answer right away. Instead, he glanced toward the distant hills where the faint yellow glow of Gray Hollow flickered against the horizon. The wind carried another echo of distant howls across the frozen fields. Lydia heard them too. Her shoulders tensed. "They are looking for me," she murmured. "They will not cross into Ironwood," the man said. Lydia looked up quickly. "Everyone says that forest belongs to the Alpha King." For the first time, the man's expression changed slightly, though it was not surprise. It looked more like quiet confirmation. "It does." Lydia felt her stomach tighten again. "Then I should not be here." The stranger's gaze returned to her, and the silver in his eyes seemed brighter now under the moonlight. "On the contrary," he said, "this is exactly where you should be." Lydia frowned in confusion. "I do not understand." He tilted his head slightly, as if considering how much to say. Then he asked a question that caught her completely off guard. "When you stood in the village hall tonight, did you truly believe you had no place left in the world?" Lydia hesitated before answering. "Yes." The word came out before she could stop it. The man studied her face carefully, as though measuring the honesty in that answer. After a moment, he spoke again, his voice low but certain. "Your village was wrong about one thing." Lydia blinked. "What do you mean?" The wind shifted again, brushing through the tall ironwood branches above them with a quiet whisper. The man's gaze never left hers. "You are not scentless," he said calmly. Lydia felt her heart skip. "That is impossible." "No," he replied. "It is simply rare." Lydia opened her mouth to argue, but the distant howls echoed again from across the frozen hills, closer now than before. The man listened for a brief moment, then returned his attention to her with the same composed expression. "Your pack will not reach this forest tonight," he said. Lydia swallowed. "How can you be so sure?" The stranger finally allowed a faint smile to touch his face, though his eyes remained steady and powerful. "Because," he said quietly, "they would never dare challenge the Alpha King." Lydia stared at him, the meaning of his words settling slowly into place like falling snow. The cold air suddenly felt very still. "Who are you?" she whispered. The man met her gaze without hesitation. "Rowan Nightfall." Lydia Carter felt the world around her grow strangely quiet after the man spoke his name. Rowan Nightfall. Even someone who had lived her entire life in a small and distant village had heard that name before. Stories about the Alpha King traveled farther than roads, carried through travelers, merchants, and wandering wolves who spoke about the ruler of the Northern Territories with a mixture of respect and careful caution. Lydia had never imagined she would meet him, and certainly not like this, standing alone at the edge of a forbidden forest with snow falling quietly around them. For a long moment, she simply stared at him, searching his face for some sign that this might be a misunderstanding. But nothing about the man before her suggested uncertainty. Rowan Nightfall stood exactly as he had before, calm and steady, as though the night itself had been waiting for him to speak. Lydia felt her throat tighten. "You are the Alpha King," she said slowly, almost testing the words as they left her mouth. Rowan did not nod right away. Instead, he studied her expression carefully, as if observing how the truth settled into her thoughts. "Yes," he said at last. The simple answer sent a ripple of disbelief through Lydia's chest. She took a small step back without realizing she had moved. The snow crunched softly beneath her boots. "Then I should not be standing here," she murmured.